YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here with the second battle in the 3-match setup that I was playing with my opponent in multiplayer. And this time he's going to play as Syracuse, and I'm going to play as Baktria. So, I brought Rome last time, I brought Baktria this time. Baktria is a very powerful faction. My opponent chose Syracuse after I chose Baktria. I didn't counter-pick him with it. So that was a pretty gutsy move for him to bring Syracuse versus Baktria. It's going to definitely be a tough finish for him because Baktria's got a lot of tools. And again, Baktria and Noble Horse are another unit that I think is OP. I'll talk about that afterwards, but I'm using a lot of these units that I'm not real fond of because, again, I'm used to playing against them. I want to play with them and see how they work for me. Because I've used them before. It's not like I've never used any of these units. I just typically stray away from it. Also, you all may have noticed that I had a different name in this battle rather than my standard name is Patchy. I love when I get online and I get to meet viewers and I get to play battles with you, but sometimes it's fun to just kind of go out incognito for a while, just so that I can just play a game. And every now and then I'll get into games that are a lot of fun, and then sometimes I run into people that I think play a certain way because they know it's me, and sometimes I just want something spontaneous. So I definitely appreciate all the games you'll give me. It's not like I'm trying to hide from you online. It's just every now and then I like to sign on with a different name and just play a little more incognito so that it doesn't influence things that much. But in any case, I'm keeping my opponent at, let me cover my army: 6 Thorax Swords, Armored Elephant, 4 Bactrian Noble Horse, 2 Bactrian Light Horse, 3 Scythian Horse Archers. My opponent has, I want to say, 5 Thorax Hoplites, a picked Hoplite General. He's got several units of Slingers and several units of Archers. His Archers are obviously intended to kill my Elephants. And then he's got 4 units of Mercenary Campanian Cav. Let me run into the strategy here. My infantry strategy is pretty basic. Just take his infantry all up this line, and my Thorax Swords will do fine. They'll win it over time, but what I have to do, my goal here, is I just have to keep my opponent's cavalry from getting behind me, and then hopefully use my elephants effectively, so we'll see how I do. My plan, and let me just tell you, so my plan was to slip these Bactrian Light Horse through each flank, and to get to skirmishers. There was a perfect hole right here. I didn't use it though, and my opponent comes chasing my cavalry off on this flank, so he kind of gets a nice deal over here because he distracts all 3 of my cav units with his 2, and he's doing a great job. However, on this flank, I do manage to gang up on one of his Mercenary Campanian Cav, so that'll go well for me, and then I still have this Light Horse available, and then my Elephants available, and then my Scythian Horse Archers can now get into the back of his men. So let's go back into play and watch. So, of course, my swordsmen are winning the fight up front. I get a little hasty here with my elephants. My cav weren't quite ready to silence all his archers, so he does run my general amok. So I'm going to have to immediately pull my light horse away from my general and hope that my general doesn't backcharge my Bactrian Noble Horse over here, or my infantry for that matter. Fortunately for me, they kind of lock onto this light horse and I can kind of stay away from him. And then, meanwhile, my Scythian Horse Archers just come straight into all of his archers back here. So basically that's the last time my opponent's going to be able to run my elephants amok. They are not dead, and they'll be back. Yep. So right now you can see the infantry fight clearly going in my favor. My opponent was not able to get into Hoplite Wall. If he had, this fight would be taking a considerable amount more time. These picked Hoplites holding their own for sure against my Thorax Swords, but the rest of his Thorax Hoplites not so much. My Bactrian Noble Horse is a tough unit to kill, even for these Mercenary Campanian Cav, but they are doing it. This Bactrian Noble Horse is going down, and this one over here is going down slower, but it's going down. And again, here's another micro mistake that I'm guilty of. See this unit just sitting here? This unit should have been around and in behind here, or just on into his archers sooner. So I really need to practice my micromanagement. I don't know how to do that, but if you all have some tips on how you like to improve your micromanagement, let me know. It's just something where I just get non-observant sometimes when I'm playing, and it's a big mistake. It's something that a lot of players do wrong. This is my light horse just got throttled by that Campanian Cav. That was an awesome charge for my opponent. Absolutely throttled. Yeah, I've got my horse archers behind his men. I shot some flaming arrows and then just some regular arrows, just trying to take down his morale. And then, of course, I'm going to finish him off with elephants. Might as well at this point. So if I can get my infantry free, I've got other cavalry free. Again, this other Bactrian light horse that was going to do a hammer and anvil, but it's too late. His guys are already dead. And then I can reinforce against this Mercenary Campanian Cav. So Baktria is a faction that certainly has a lot more tools here. And you saw that, so I didn't win necessarily head-to-head with Bactrian Noble Horse. I actually did right there, but it may have been a morale thing. But Baktria Noble Horse is so cost-effective that it actually was able to hold his Campanian Cav, and he spent 1,200 talents per unit. I spent like 880, and the Bactrian Noble Horse allowed me to continue that fight for a long time while my infantry did what it needed. He really needed rear charges from his men. I think he planned well in the sense that my swordsmen weren't going to instantly kill his hoplites, and he had a lot of archers to take down my elephants. Definitely need to be ready for armored elephants with Baktria coming against you, so I think that was good too. The slingers, I'm not really sure what the purpose of those guys was. Maybe to try and fend off horse archers, which I did have, and they did get a lot of kills because they got all of his skirmishers. And then you can see my swordsman did pretty well too. So I think the biggest problem here for my opponent is that he paid a lot of money for that Campanian Cav. That's like almost 5,000 talents. And then his general, you add that in, and it's almost 6,000 talents just in that one group. The general did manage to get a fair number of kills versus swordsman, but eventually, he got knocked out by units being behind him. I think that this just goes to show Baktria definitely has a tool with him, and that is good cavalry, and that's going to make winning against Baktria with Syracuse a very difficult task. If you bring Thorax Swordsmen to meet the Bactrian Thorax Swordsmen, at least you'd be equal in that mindset, and then if you were able to use hoplites to support on the flank and some cheap archers. The problem is Baktria is still going to have access to better horsemen. Bactrian light horsemen are quite good for the price, and their Scythian horse archers are also an excellent unit. So Baktria is just a tough one to beat with Syracuse, to be honest. And my opponent picked a faction there where he had his work cut out for him. So the win here, I think I in general played better here and picked a stronger army, but not necessarily indicative of just me being a better player here, because Baktria really does have a lot more tools. So kudos to my opponent for taking the underdog. I like to do that most of the time, but like I said, in these battles, I was just kind of going for some of the powerful units, just trying to get a feel for how they work. Obviously, my biggest problem is execution. I just need to get better at the way that I execute the armies that I bring, and it'll make me a better player in the end, so that's probably something I should push myself on. In any case, I hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.